the Fade 5 podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets, you jackwagons. Brad the Big Noise Evans with you, joined by the good sipping on the Suavecito love juice, Nathaniel Lundy. This indeed is the Fade 5 podcast, and it is indeed a hashtag Tequila Thursday. We are presented by Suavecito. Go pick up a bottle right now. It is splendid. They sell a Total Wine if you have one in your neck of the woods. I know that's a very popular libation in the state of Ohio, where we're going to have sports betting launching on January 1st. So go ahead and prime the pump right now with some Suavecito. And I prefer the Añejo. Put it in the freezer, crack it open, drink it neat, and enjoy those vanilla nodes as they go down the gullet.
Oh, it's spectacular. You want to go a little notch heavier, maybe add to your Christmas list. Grab that extra Añejo as well, which is just super smooth. But the Añejo is perfect. You're right. What do we got, Brad? We got like Ohio. We got like Maryland is on deck. We got on deck, I said. You've got all kinds of states that have decided to join the party, and some of you have not figured it out yet, and you need to have a conversation with your local politicians. You need to write a sternly worded letter to the editor.
Yeah, and I think that's going to happen in the state of California, where it's not looking particularly good right now for legalization, which will be determined next Tuesday on Election Day. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into a matchup that's probably going to warrant the full bottle of tequila, especially if you're a Lovie Smith and Texans fan, as they are all of a sudden now getting 13.5. We've seen significant line movement. I think this thing opened at like 9.5 eons ago. It spiked to as high as 14.5. Now it's trickling back down to the 13.5 line. Pull this from BetMGM, and we have a double Captain Hook in the equation here, with the total now creeping up. I saw it early this morning at 45. Now it's up to 45.5. So Eagles laying 13.5 and the total at 45.5. Lundy, what say you?
I'm saying we're rolling with the hook on the spread side of things. I say forget field goals. Nobody needs field goals. I'm saying 28-14. I think the Eagles cover. I think this thing tucks to the under by the time it's all said and done. And I think yet again, we have a Thursday night affair where you can just go to sleep early.
I'm going to say Steve going to be uglier than that. 31-13. Eagles in this one. So I will lay the chalk, and I will also tuck just barely on the under. By the way, we get the splits from BetMGM on some of the tickets. Over 70% of the public action right now, spread ticket wise, on the Eagles. But I cannot justify the backdoor cover for the Houston Texans in any way, shape, or form, especially if your boy, the disgruntled Brandin Cooks, so we're going to talk about a little bit later on here on the pod, does not suit up. So with that, let's get after it. Bartender, pour us a smooth Suavecito and another edition of the Fade 5.
Number 5.
All right, let's start things off with a player prop that I've been waffling on all week long until this morning. And I said, screw it, to hell with it. I'll take the over on 17.5 receiving yards for Dameon Pierce. Now, temporarily yesterday, this jumped to 19.5. So we have fallen back down to where the line opened. And why do I like this prop in particular? He's run 20-plus routes in 4 of his last 6 games. He's caught at least 3 balls in 4 straight games. Has been over this number a couple of times. Now, you look at Philadelphia, the area of vulnerability really is in the trenches for this defense because of the outstanding 3 quarterbacks starting on roster, highlighted by the shutdown and big play Darius Slay. So a lot of nickel and diming as a result from the opposition. Philadelphia giving up 5.4 receptions, 31.4 receiving yards per game to the running back position. 7 rushers have gone over this 17.5 line. And with Pierce and his teammates likely chasing a deficit, maybe by midway through the first quarter, I think he's going to be highly active as a pass catcher, much like he was last week yet again. So fade or follow, my man. Dameon Pierce, the rookie sensation for the Houston Texans, over, not rushing yards, but 17.5 receiving yards, minus 115 at DraftKings.
Scattered, smothered, and covered. We're talking Waffle House. If you're waffling, first of all, waffles sound really good right now. I got to be honest.
Delicious.
It's kind of one of those Thursday mornings you want to put a little foundation down prior to the Suavecito. I'm actually going to fade you on this one. I think there's a reason you've been waffling, and I think it's because somewhere that little gnome that lives in the back of your brain, Brad, is reminding you of just how damn good this Philadelphia team is, and that they're more than likely going to shut the door early down on Houston. I don't think Pierce gets to this number. I think he gets a couple of catches, but I'm calling for him to finish below 15, and therefore I don't like this 17.5. I will fade you. I will take the under on Mr. Pierce.
What's that? Shut up, Gnome! I'm taking the over.
Number 4.
All right, let's get an SGP. And are you with me? Hopefully you are on this one. Just a two-legger. Again, I think Philadelphia is going to wax that ass, and convincingly so. So just as a protection, you might say, oh, you're a coward. Why are you taking an alt line? Well, you never know. I mean, the Packers impossibly covered against Buffalo last week, so the back door is always open. So I'm going to take Philadelphia down to 9.5, and I'm going to take Jalen Hurts, because it hurts so good. Come on, Jalen, make it hurt so good on an anytime touchdown. And then on that two-legger, you get it at plus 140 right now at DraftKings. You look at Hurts, he is leading the league among quarterbacks in rush attempts per game at 11.3. He has 25 red zone rush attempts on the season. Clearly the pace setter in that category. That is shaking out to 3.6 per game. He has 6 total touchdowns on the year on the ground, averaging just over 43 rush yards per game. And we know the area that you can exploit this Houston, Texas team, and this cover 2 defense is in the trenches. They have been less than stellar defending the run, giving up 5.74 yards per carry to the running back position. Derrick Henry, Seahole, smash hole, still running from last week's 200-yard effort. So Hurts, maybe on an RPO play, calls his own number, knocking at the door of scoring 6, and indeed crosses a chalk. So give me an anytime touchdown. I'm going to parlay that with Philadelphia minus 9.5, plus 140 at DraftKings. Lundy, fade or follow?
Oh, man. I'll follow on this one, actually. I will follow on this one. The problem is I've gotten a little greedy in the last couple of weeks with my same game parlays, Brad. I've gotten to that point where I'm thinking to myself, I like Jalen Hurts for a touchdown, but I also – there I was this morning, midway through about my 8th cup of coffee. As you know, I tend to be with my caffeine. I am with my caffeine the way you are with your tequila. And there I was, Brad, on FanDuel this morning. And I thought, Jalen Hurts for 2 touchdowns at plus 500.
Oh,
and I thought, you know what? I could totally see that happen tonight. Now, I didn't cannonball splash that bet. But I did sprinkle a little something on that one this morning. So I like this one. But you and your measly little plus 140, which I say, obviously, tongue firmly planted in cheek, y'all. You know, on this podcast, we talk all the time. Get to plus odds and then shut up and take your money, as you're going to see in some of what I've got in bonus time. I like this one. But, man, could you see Hurts just having himself a primetime game? Because that plus 500 is awfully tempting.
Crank the John Cougar Mellencamp, whatever it is. 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 1 touchdown. Give me Jalen Hurts all day.
Number 3.
Oh, speaking of the anytime touchdown bug, and I think it's going to be caught by one Miles Sanders, and this is numero trace here on the Fade 5 today. Give me him to score today via ground or air. It doesn't really matter. At plus 105. And the only book that has this at plus money at tape time is BetMGM. So go there right now and sign up. Use the promo code NOISE if you want to. But Miles Sanders, anytime touchdown at plus money, only at BetMGM. I think he will splash 6 in this game. Why? Because Sanders is seeing 68.3% of the team's opportunity share. He is the main man there. He's got 19 red zone touches on the season. That is top 10 at the running back position. And he scored 4 times in his last 4 games. Now, all those didn't come in one game. He had one multi-TD affair, but he scored in 3 of his last 4. And as I mentioned, the shortcoming of this Houston defense is clearly stopping the run, which they don't do. Their return style, 5.74 yards per carry, 159.3. And let me repeat that, 159.3 rush yards per game just to the running back position. So whether it's going to be Hurts, whether it's going to be Sanders, hell, both of these events could be true. I think those just score a touchdown. So are you with me on Miles Sanders spiking one in the end zone, my friend, on that anytime, plus 105 only at BetMGM?
Yeah, BetMGM's got it at the plus 105. You want those plus odds. FanDuel, by the way, is a flat plus 100, just FYI. They are at the just flat even money, but you might as well take the extra 5 that you can get with BetMGM. And as Brad said, promo code NOISE. Make sure you got yourself signed up. You people that are joining us here before too long in Ohio, Maryland, everywhere else, keep that in mind. I like this one a lot. And, this might show up again in bonus time. We'll talk about that in just a minute.
Oh, yes, Lundy, another tease. And because Lundy is going to deny me, I'm going to have to turn to Suavecito Tequila to numb the pain. That's who we're presented by every Hashtag Tequila Thursday here on the podcast. Pick up a bottle now. And if you're not familiar with Suavecito, in 2015, Forbes magazine in New York City contacted 10 tequila experts around the USFA, one in California, New York, Florida, people who know the love juice. And they asked them a simple question: what is the best tasting tequila sold in these United States? And 1 week later, on the front page of Forbes magazine was a picture of Suavecito Añejo, that glorious bottle. So grab some love juice tonight and throw a betting fiesta on this Hashtag Tequila Thursday. Get Suavecito at any Total Wine and more. And if they don't have it, just ask for it. We consider it a favor. Gracias.
Number 2.
All right, let's march on here. And will he play? Because he may be a little bit ticked off that he was not shipped out of town at the trade deadline. Yes, the former Oregon State Beaver, who just wants to eat some wood. That's all he wants, but not for the Houston Texans, not as Davis Mills' primary pass catcher, and you can't blame him. That's Brandin Cooks. And if he is in uniform tonight, he allegedly has this wrist injury, but he was not at practice due to personal reasons yesterday. So status very much up in the air according to reports on the local level and the national level. But if he plays tonight, pound the under on 61.5 receiving yards. This one available at BetMGM at minus 115. Cooks averaging 7.6 targets per game, which is a healthy amount, and 4.6 receptions per game, also a healthy amount, but only netting 50.6 yards per game on the season. He's number 46 in YAC and number 63 in ADOT. So, he is an extraordinary field stretcher, but they're not utilizing him in that capacity. More line tied this year on some of the short routes that he is running for this Texans team. He has been under in 6 of his last 7 games. And who's going to see primarily in coverage again? If he's in uniform, Darius Slay, who's living up to the big play nickname, giving up just 47.2 in catch rate and a 37.2 passer rating. That's it to his assignment. So Brandin Cooks, not going to do a whole lot tonight. Definitely going to be the Chef Boyardee of wide receivers. Again, if he is active, I'm taking the under on 61.5 receiving yards. Fade or follow minus 115 at BetMGM.
He might finish with 1 catch for 8 yards. Seriously. That might legitimately be. And I know a lot of people bitch and moan about, these guys are making tons of money and they're complaining and all that. Believe me, if you were a talented wide receiver stuck in Houston, you'd be complaining right now too. I can't believe that they did not deal him for anything if you're Houston right now.
Trade him to Green Bay. What was Green Bay thinking?
Yeah, you got to do something to be able to try to help this guy out. I mean, look, the Broncos did a good trade with Chubb. There were some good trades that happened. And by the way, side note, I am predicting that what we saw at the NFL trade deadline, Brad, is what we're going to see going forward in the league, by the way. I know they talked about that being the busiest one. I think that's actually going to become the norm in the National Football League over the next few seasons. But I digress. Hammer the hell out of the under in this number if he plays. A lot of the books have taken it off the board. It's not there. So you may have to keep an eye on this one right before kickoff to see if they post it back up. If he is active, they may throw the number back up. But whatever they do, I'll tell you right now, if they put this back up at 49.5, I would take the under. Because you got a disgruntled wide receiver that may start throwing Surface tablets and crap on the sideline at some point.
Yeah, Brandin Cooks likely to pull at Aaron Rodgers, who he should be catching passes from right now.
Number 1.
All right, numero uno. It's a SGP, a little same game parlay. Look, Jalen Hurts probably going to have to throw not very often in this contest, especially after halftime. But a lot of this hopefully is going to accumulate early on in the game. So looking at the pair of fly, Eagles fly wide receivers, give me Devonta Smith. 35-plus receiving yards, a Slim Reaper getting hopefully close to 40. And A.J. Brown off a hat trick of TDs, unstoppable last week, 55-plus receiving yards. Both of those achievements happened. You're looking at plus 110 at BetMGM. Looking at Devonta Smith. He's been over this in 4 or 7 games, seeing a very healthy 25.1% of the team target share, and he's number 20 in total yards after the catch among all eligible wide receivers in the league. Houston giving up 7.23 pass yards per attempt, and 11 guys have gotten to at least 35 receiving yards against them in this cover 2 scheme. Now, you look at A.J. Brown, 9.1 targets per game. Just uncontainable, really, outside the numbers. He's number 3 in yards per route run. He has been over this number in 6 of 7 contests. Now, he's going to get Steven Nelson in coverage, who has been more than respectable in that capacity, giving up a 70.1 passer rating to his assignment. So that's why I'm taking this number down. A lot of people are going to pound the over because the recency bias is a hell of a drug and tail the performance from last week, but it's going to be close on the actual line. That's why I like it at 55-plus for A.J. Brown. And then on Devonta Smith, 35-plus receiving yards, plus 110 at BetMGM. Lundy, fade or follow?
Follow the yellow brick road. Yes, take this one. This obviously is game script dependent, so I'm hoping to see a lot of this yardage, if not maybe all of it, fingers crossed, within the first half, maybe the first 2.5 quarters, somewhere in that range, because otherwise the game script is going to dictate the fact that these guys are not going to see the ball through the air a whole lot. So I'm hoping to see them sort of kick the Texans while they're down early in the game. And then as they call the dogs off, maybe even take some of the stars out of the game, depending upon what the scoreboard looks like, you may see these kinds of opportunities go away. So I like the idea of bringing these numbers down, take advantage of that. Recency is a hell of a drug. You got to watch out for that. Especially with A.J. Brown, but I think 55 is a good number. Devonta Smith, I'll be honest, Brad, this number makes me a little bit nervous because I do think I think he could be like 40, 42, 43. Because again, I think we're going to see a lot of student body left, student body right. I just think they're just going to get up into a game script, and it could be a little nerve-wracking. Just throwing that out there.
And hopefully, Jalen Hurts will have at least 10 pass attempts. 5 go to A.J. Brown, 5 go to Devonta Smith, and alleviates all the worry. But we have additional nervousness on our card tonight because we have the World Series still going on tonight. We got the NBA. You, of course, the hockey dude. I know you've got some wagers in that sport. We got college football as well, and additional action likely on Thursday Night Football. It's bonus time, Lundy. Feed me. What else you got?
All right, let me do a little same game parlay here. And I'm actually going to do, Brad, remember when we were kids? Remember those choose your own adventure books?
Yeah. Oh, I love them.
Those? Okay. So I'm going to give you 3 legs, and then I'm going to let you choose your own adventure on the 4th. Okay. I'm going to let you have some fun with this one. Give me Davis Mills under 269.5 passing yards. So I this is all at DraftKings, by the way. That is the highest opportunity for him that you can then take the under. So basically under 270 yards passing. Give me Miles Sanders for 65 plus on the ground. And then I'm going to roll with Devonta Smith. I know I told you I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I'm going to take Smith at 35 plus. The same thing you did on the receiving. Okay. Those three by themselves are a plus 150. Nice, solid number. But I told you, I've been a little bit greedy lately, okay? So I'm going to give you a couple of options. This is the first half line, okay? If you take the Eagles minus 6.5, Brad, plus 290. So I took it from a plus 150. I almost doubled it for Philly to be up by a touchdown. But if that makes you nervous, you could do Philly minus 2.5.
Yep.
Okay, so just a field goal there at halftime. That one's plus 215. So my baseline is a plus 150, those 3-player props that I gave you. And then I'm playing first half lines for Philly because I do think they're going to jump out in this one. You can say Philly by at least a field goal or Philly by at least a touchdown, and that's going to range you from plus 215 to plus 290. So it just kind of depends on what you're willing to do in terms of that first half risk. I really like the baseline, but you can have some fun with that first half line. So for everybody out there, just take whichever one you are most comfortable with in that same game parlay. And again, I did that one at DraftKings. Let's go from the senior circuit to the junior circuit, Brad. Tonight we've got college football. You already talked about it. I am going to alt line both underdogs in the game tonight. I am going to take UTEP plus 7.5. So the line right now is at 3.5. I'm taking UTEP all the way up to 7.5. And then I'm going to take Coastal Carolina also up to 7.5. These two teams might win outright, to be honest with you, okay? Coastal Carolina is at home. UTEP is on the road taking on Rice. But I'm taking UTEP plus 7.5, Coastal Carolina plus 7.5. If I put those two together, again, DraftKings plus 137. So a nice, solid 2-leg alt-line play tonight in college football with two games that I think can be close, and I'm going to take the underdogs, and I'm going to say that they're going to be within a touchdown. You talked about the plays on the ice. You know I'm all about the gifts, the goal in the first 10. Folks, earlier this week, so far, Minnesota and Vancouver had been 100%. They were batting 1,000 in terms of having a goal in the first 10. Each one of them finally lost that streak over the course of the last 72 hours. So I'm getting back on that damn horse. Give me a goal in the first 10 for Seattle and Minnesota. Give me a goal in the first 10 for Anaheim and Vancouver. Put those two together, it's a plus 160. Another one for you, two other teams that love to be able to hit it on the gift, and that's Nashville and Edmonton. So in both of their games, Nashville and Calgary, New Jersey and Edmonton, give me the gift in that one as well. That one is a plus 147. If you want to get crazy with the Cheese Whiz, if you put all four of those together, it's a plus 545. Finally, I mentioned to you that I like Minnesota for a goal in the first 10. However, if you look over the course of the season, they're not only scoring in the first 10 minutes, they're allowing their opponent to do it as well. So in that Minnesota-Seattle game, you got to dig a little bit to find this. But on DraftKings, one of the bets that you can make, and the other books have it as well, is to say that both teams will score in the first period. So not just the first 10 minutes, but the entire first 20. For Minnesota and Seattle to both score in the first period is a plus 130. Ooh. So again, Minnesota, which is like they're scoring, but from a defensive standpoint and a goaltending standpoint, they are a wet Kleenex right now. So even though it's the Kraken, I think Seattle's going to be able to find the back of the net within the first 20 as well. There's a plus 130. So we took it from the NFL, college football, as well as hockey. And I believe, Brad, we're going to pull off the full spread of sports because I know you've at least got the NBA. Do you also have a Major League Baseball play?
I do. Yes, I do.
Everybody covered.
Well, look, the Phillies are going to redeem themselves after getting no hit last night. I'm going to take them on the run line, which is a normal plus 1.5. You got to think about how awful Justin Verlander has been in the postseason with a 7.20 ERA. Remember, he gave up 5 earned and 5 innings pitched in game 1. So I think the Phillies, they may not win, but they're going to lose at a maximum by 1 run in this one. So give me Philly plus 1.5 on that run line. In the NBA, let's go to your neck of the woods and the Denver Nuggets taking on OKC. Give me my Michael Porter Jr. On a same game parlay. And I didn't get this a plus money because I'm playing it safe. The NBA has not been good to me so far this week. After the first couple of weeks, it was outstanding to me. Then it reared its ugly head and slapped me in the face. But Porter, I'm going to go 15-plus points and 6-plus rebounds tonight against OKC. The Thunder have allowed the third most rebounds per game in the NBA this season, and Porter usually within that 15 to 20-point range, sometimes creeps above 20 points. He's shooting 51.5% from the floor this season, and he's averaging 24 minutes played per game. Let's go back to college football. And I'm going to take the under in the Coastal Carolina and App State matchup, which is sitting at 64. Both these teams have gone over 4 times and under 4 times in matchups this season. But I think this game is going to come down to turnovers. As long as they're not pick sixes or scooping scores, you know, you look at Coastal, they are plus 10 in turnover margin. That's number 5 in college football. And Appalachian State, not too far off that pace. They are plus 7 and number 12 in college football in that category. So the turnovers, as long as they don't go for a touchdown, I think they're going to play a factor in this and keep what will still be a high-scoring game under the 64 points here. And I kind of like the Chanticleers on the money line. So if you're into fighting cocks, sprinkle a little action on that. All right, back to the NFL. Tonight, and I am going to go with, what else do I have on my card? I think actually I've played everything. Oh, no, I haven't. I've got a same game parlay.
I knew you had to have another one. There had to be another one locked and loaded somewhere.
All right, so we're going to mix and match some of the bets I've already made today. And if you would put these together in a 3-legger at BetMGM, it shakes out to plus 220. And here's what it is. Jalen Hurts on that anytime touchdown. Remember, he's leading the league in red zone rush attempts for a quarterback with 25. Give me Miles Sanders, 65-plus rush yards, which he should easily achieve on the assault line. Again, he used to giving up 5.74 yards per carry, 159.3 rush yards per game. 7 guys have gone over this number this season against him, and Sanders has done it 5 times as well. And let's go back to Devonta Smith. I know he's a bugaboo and he scares you crapless on this number, but I'm going to take the over on 35-plus, which Houston's allowed 11 times this season. He's done it 4 or 7 games. So, uno, dos, tres, Hurts anytime touchdown, Sanders 65-plus rush yards, Devonta Smith 35-plus receiving yards, plus 220 at BetMGM.
Guess what?
Yep.
One more. You want one more? I'll give you one more.
Yeah.
One more. You were talking about Hurts for a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Earlier, we talked about Sanders for a touchdown, right?
Put those together?
And the Eagles are going to win. I mean,
yeah. Money line?
Yes. Sanders touchdown, Hurts touchdown, Philly money line plus 302.
Oh, man, that's erotic. No question about it.
That's at FanDuel, by the way.
Yeah.
Because again, folks, if you're going to do that, if you're going to follow Brad and I, or you're going to follow me on the one that I just mentioned, remember, BetMGM and FanDuel are the only 2 right now that have Sanders at plus odds for a touchdown. So if you're going to OGP that one, make sure you do it at one of those 2 because it's going to boost your number up because of the fact that you've got plus odds on one of those touchdowns. So just, again, if you don't have that available to you, take it where you can get it because you're still going to have plus odds, obviously, because there's 2 anytime touchdowns built in there. But it bumped it up above 300 by throwing Philly on the money line in there as an extra leg.
Yeah, gets seduced by that juice, and what a night in Philadelphia. If you're a fan of the Eagles, if you're a fan of the Phillies, make sure you have multiple screens available because you're going to need it, no question about it.
And probably some security as well, maybe some personal security around you, just knowing how Philly can be. I'm just saying, you may want to hire somebody to follow you around.
Well, if not, make sure you get your grips on a bottle of Suavecito because if things go awry this evening for the Phillies or the Eagles or both, you got the elixir there to cure all the pain. And we need you to rate and review us if you don't mind. Drop us a rating and a review at your convenience. Helps out our show tremendously. Also, follow our picks. On Twitter, you can follow me at Noisy Huevos. Got a free spreadsheet, always transparent. And Lundy does the same thing at Nate Lundy. For Mr. Lundy, I'm Brad Evans. And get yourself some Suavecito. And as always, fade or follow. That is up to you.